Here's how to use the blank board game that I created together with your Quizlet set. First off, what you need, print off the blank board game. It's a PDF, so just print it off on 8.5 by 11 paper or whatever size you want. Make sure that you have a playing piece for each person in the group, and you have one die. You can also use online die. For example, you can Google roll a die, and Google will give you a single die that you can roll. Once they have rolled the die, the first person, they roll the number of spaces. So in this case, they move 2. They would move to the second spot. It's a blank spot. And so what happens is one person in the group has now opened up the Quizlet set that works as your playing cards, if you want to put it that way. And on one side, you have, just like usual, you have definition and vocabulary, or you can mix it up and you can put question and answer. So when, say, the first person moves, they see the definition. Make sure it's on shuffle, by the way. That way not all the groups are on the same question at the same time. They read the definition and they give their answer. If they're correct, then they get to stay on the spot. If they're wrong, they move back to where they came from. Now you also notice there are some gray spots that are here. So this one here, that looks like a telephone. This one is phone a friend. And what they can do is they can ask one other person not in their group, so from one of the other groups. They can read the definition or the question. The person can give them the answer. They do not have to use that answer, but it is just there to help them. They still have to make their own answer. They can either choose the same answer that the person said, or they can use their own answer. And so that's just an aid to help them. You'll also notice there is the hourglass. The hourglass is to wait a turn, so they have to miss a turn. So they don't get a question on that one. They don't get a question on the next turn, and then they have to wait until it comes back around again. The top one here, where the arrow, they have to switch positions with someone else on the board. So if someone's way back here, say around the telephone, and they're way up here, they would have to switch. Now, if somebody's ahead, that's also helpful. They can also switch with them as long as they choose one other person on the board to switch with. They have to switch and still answer a question. The one with the 2 means that they have to answer 2 questions correctly. If they only get one of the 2, they have to move back from where they came from. The idea is that eventually they will go all the way through to get to the finish line. Now, the key to this, of course, is having enough questions. So you can also combine sets. Quizlet allows you to combine sets together to create a mega set, if you wanted to put it that way, of questions that they can revise. Or you can, again, like I said, create your own question answer sets that you want to do. So I did this, for example, with my teacher training program. And in the teacher training program, we were trying to talk about higher order concerns and lower order concerns. And so what we were doing is I would give, in the definition section, I would give them an idea of something, so a scenario, and then they had to decide if that particular scenario was addressing higher order concerns or lower order concerns. So on the other side, it just said HOC or LOC. And so on the vocabulary side of things, it only had HOC, LOC all the way through. But then on the definition side, there were a number of different scenarios. So you can mix this up almost any way you want. Once they reach the end, they can just go back through and do the same set again, or you could have another set available for them. Of course, you can have this timed, or you can have it finish, whether they reach the finish line or when they get through their entire set. But that is basically how this works.